What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Henderson Lounge. Today we are running through the song Blackbird. And yeah, I'm not positioned great with this mic here. It's, I think I need to, there we go, that's better, but it's at the end of its reach here, and it's, anyways, so, you can follow along on the sheet music. This video is primarily for my student, my phenomenal student. So yeah, we'll start with there's a kind of a breakdown of the sections in the song. We got the intro, which is just this. I realize you can't really see my fretting hand that well, so let me bring this down a bit. There. All right, here we go. That should be a little better. Do. Something like that. I think that ought to work good. Okay. So, got the intro, which is and then you go into verse 1, which starts the same as the intro. So once you're done with the intro, like I just played, then you go back and you start over and do. And then the continuation is. So that walk up there is particularly hard to do when you're learning it. I'm still working on cleaning it up myself. But basically, it's this strings 2 and 5 anyways, yeah. So you'll follow along. So you got this, and then you switch. So you got your fingers 1 and 3 down here, up here and down there, and then you'll switch to the. So you got strings 1 and 5. You got 2 and 5. Or no, it is 2 and 5. No, that's right. 2 and 5 and 1 and 5. So you've got a first finger and third finger, and then you go to first finger and second finger. And then, and those are on, frets 3 and 5 here. 3 and 5, and then 3 and 4. And then you move up to 5 and 7. Same formation as the just up. And then you do the same shift. It's exact same. So you go 2 and 5. Strings 2 and 5 to 1 and 5. And then you go that position, but it's fingers 1 and 3, but instead of being frets 7 and 9, you're 7 and 8. And you do that, and then you move the left finger down, and then you go back to 5 and 7, and it sounds like you could go, but that's. Well, what they have you do in the music is, so it's slightly different. Your fingers are going down, but the notes are going up. So if you're playing it by ear, sometimes it could be a little confusing. That might be a way to mess it up, but you follow the music and it shows you. So you're kind of doing this this walk up. You do the first, like on the way up into the verse, you do that. So it almost does it, down backwards, but a little differently. So it goes. So you got that 5 and 7 frets 5 and 7, and then you go to frets 3 and 4, and then frets 3 and 5. So remember, you do the, so it's just reverse. It's, and then before that you're doing, because you would do, but instead you're going. So it's that part is like an actual reverse. So you're doing. That part takes some work. Basically, when I was learning it, I just spent time doing, and then I would. Let's see. Feeling a little bass heavy. That's better. Oh, okay. Now, before we get too far, I should have mentioned this earlier, but your right hand, your technique, is going to be important to work on proper hand position. So, like, as you're picking, I noticed that it's easy for me to slip my thumb too far back into my palm area. But proper picking technique, let me move the camera down just a bit. That should help a bit. So you want your thumb out a little bit further because you don't want to be picking. You don't want to be picking on the tip. You want to be picking on the pad of your thumb. And to do that, you need to push it out further. So, and doing that is also going to shift your fingers so that you can actually pick on the pads of your fingers better. So it's easy to feel like with your wrist, if it's with a, you want to kind of feel like you're hanging your wrist, like just keep it super relaxed, and your hand's going to droop like this naturally. So you want to keep that really relaxed and have your thumb a little bit further out than you may instinctually want to do as you're playing, because you're going to want to play more like this, but you want to shift, you want to rotate your hand so it's relaxed, and that your fingers are almost like, imagine your fingers are, a funny analogy is like the flap strips in a car wash. You need to hang straight down. So, and stay relaxed. So, yeah. I realize that I've still got a lot of work to do to clean this up. I'm hitting a lot of wrong strings, a lot of neighboring strings. You know, I've got some a little bit of fret buzz and stuff like that, but this is a work in progress, and this is what I've got so far. So, I mean, I can play through the whole song. I'm just saying, yeah, I'm not going to be the best example of the cleanest playing on this. But yeah. Anyways, so let's see, where were we? Through the song section. We pretty much got through verse 1, and then verse 2 is pretty much the same. So you just let's run through the. So I was going through, you know, from frets 7 and 8. That's the end of verse 1. So then we start over. You're down here, and you can do. That's the end of verse 2. And then we go to the chorus, which then you slide all the way up to the chorus here to frets 8 and 10. So we start a new section. We go. So this, you got, you know, 8 and 10, and you're doing, you got a fret space between. And then you go down and you got adjacent frets. You go down again. So your first finger. So here you're on fret 8. Your first finger. I'm gonna refer to your position on your first finger. First finger. You got 8 and 10, and then you're gonna do 7 and 8, and then you're gonna do 5 and 6, and then you're gonna do 3 and 5. And then you're going to do 1 and 3. And they're all, you know, you're just gliding around on strings 2 and 5. So you got spaced together. I should say adjacent, spaced, adjacent, adjacent, spaced. Spaced. That's how I remember it. Go to that second fret, second string. Let's see here. So let's see. So the chorus, usually when you get down to the bottom of this progression here, you end up with your third finger on the 6th string 3rd fret for that. But we're not going to do that. You're going to remember it starts on that intro walk up. So there's no, it just goes, instead of doing the, you got that. It doesn't do that. It goes. So it just kind of continues. get to the end of that sort of verse progression, you got that chorus, that the piece that's this piece. So you get basically one cycle of the chorus is this. That, and then you get down to that first fret, and you go up. And you do through that verse thing, but it's not the verse; it's part of the chorus. And then so that's one cycle, kind of that A and B of the chorus. And then you go through the chorus again. You start up here. You go. So again, on this second round of the chorus, like the first, when you're going down, you do the you don't do that when your finger's on the 3rd fret first or 6th string here up here. You don't do that like you do on the rest of the first part of the song. You do you just jump straight into you do the and then this part here is all I'm gonna say is it's a little special. So the way I play it, which might be slightly different than how it's notated or how it's actually played, how it's in the tablature, but I basically came up with a way to do it that I think the notes are pretty much the same, just the finger pattern is a little different. Basically you got a pattern that is done 3 times, but you have, I'm going to call that pattern the A pattern. So you have an A pattern, a B pattern, and then you go back to the A pattern, and then again the A pattern, and then you have, I guess I'll call it C pattern. So we'll walk you through it. So we got so let me give you some context. So usually when you go up, you go and you're up here and you go. Instead of that, it's so you go. It's fingers. It's the thumb, index, and middle finger. Instead of usually you do thumb, middle, and index. You go. So that's the difference. It's is the normal way, and the way you do it here, the A pattern is. So you got, and then the B pattern is so it's a different rhythm slightly. You kind of like skip one of the in-between notes instead of let's see here, it's just so A and B together is I'm going to play that again. So A and B together is so the B pattern is again. So I'll do the A and B again together. So A and B. And then, like I said, you do the A pattern twice after that. You go A, B, A, A, C. So I'll do A, B, A, A, which is That's A, B, A, A. And then the C pattern is like... And you add a little bit of vibrato at the end. You go... which isn't really how that is. It's not how I count it, because it's not in... It's eighth notes. So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so I'm realizing something that I'm doing that I should make a note of, that I don't want you to do. How not to play guitar 101 is you should not be anchoring your pinky on the pick guard down here. It's a bad habit that I'm still learning to break. So sometimes I'm okay. Like, I can remember not to do that, but I find myself still trying to anchor my pinky down here so that I can move my thumb, first, second, and third fingers while having kind of an anchored point. But you should be relaxed, and anchoring my pinky restricts my motion and adds tension to my playing, which I need to work on. But generally, you just want to have your pinky, resting on a string that's not being played, or kind of hovering above the strings, working with the flow of motion of the fingers. So just be mindful of that. Let's see here. Where were we? Okay. A, B, A, A, C. Let's go through that again. So we got up here 10 and 12. So yeah, I'll just go through that whole thing again. A, B, A, A, C. So I keep hitting that buzz note at the end and not playing that properly. And then you pause a little bit, and then you go, and you slide down, you go, and it doesn't have to be that pronounced, but there's probably just a little bit. You kind of like bring your fingers off, there's like a little bit of string noise maybe that you can incorporate. It gives a little bit of a realism to it. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but whatever. So you go up to 3 and 5, and then you come back down. So yeah, you got that. So you wait to do this faster pattern, that back and forth. Wait to do that until you get to the first fret down here. When I'm like playing it kind of by ear, because I incorporate my ear in everything that I play. I wanted to play instead of the 1, and I was like, I wanted to play that faster pattern there, but you just do. So then you go back to the 3 here. The outro, so you go up to 3 and 5, and it's kind of like a tag. You go and repeat. And you kind of like slowly slow down a bit, and then your fingers go on. Your fretting fingers are on frets 2 and 3, first finger on string 5, and your middle finger or second finger, depending on how you want to do it, is on string 6. So, and then you're going to pick strings 6, 4, and 3, but together as a chord, and then you're going to strum as your ending chord. And you can kind of palm mute a little bit with your with the bottom of your hand, because you're not going to play the 6th string, because there's not really a good way to. You could choose to try and fret that, but that's not in the first string isn't in the tablature. It's not played. So you just strings 6, 4, and 3. So yeah, string 6 is fretted, and 3 and 4 are open, and then you just strum, and there you go. There's your song. And now I'm going to try and play it all the way through for you. Here we go. I have to look at the music some too, so I might trip up a bit, but we'll get through it as best as we can. little bit of a delayed ending there, but we got there. So hopefully that helps you kind of like figure out how to attack the song. Yeah, I'll be working with you on the music at your next lesson. So